Hi folks, it's Zach and welcome back to my gaming channel, and today we are talking about the SWTOR 2018 Winter and Spring Roadmap announcement that was released by the Star Wars devs on February 15th, 2018. Obviously, I am at Dolphy.net, a great resource for all your Star Wars The Old Republic gaming needs, and let's go ahead and just dive right in. So, let's start with the bad. The bad is that the roadmap finally came out. It was about a month late, and it's been about 5 months since the last time that we actually got an update, and the news is not good. There is 2 patches that are coming up, 5.8 and 5.9, and in both of these patches there's a little bit of content, same as what we've been seeing before. In this case, 5.8 has Isaac the Destroyer and some revamping of Conquest, and the long story short on Conquest is really just that they're trying to add in more daily and weekly objectives so that at the end of the day or the week you have certain types of rewards. And there'll also be a Conquest vendor now at which you can purchase. I'm not exactly sure. It just says a new Conquest vendor will appear for those who complete their personal conquests each week. It'll initially have decorations and a new companion boost called the Commander's Compendium, which will increase your active companion to influence level 50. However, the Commander's Compendium, when you go below, it says it has to be crafted, it is expensive, etc. So really, it's throwing in something else to grind for. And no offense to decorations, but who cares? If you love decorating your stronghold, great, more power to you. I have some friends who, they have loaded out all their Star Wars homes, but you can't do anything in them, and they don't provide anything. It's just a place to show off your own stuff to yourself. It provides no benefits, except as a hub for quick travel, and a place where you can avoid all the mess of the fleet and all the general chat crap while you go ahead and do everything you would on the fleet in your home. That's really all a home does. Now, as I've said before, if your home provided statistical benefits to your character, say you could send your companions out from your base to gather supplies for your said base, your base could be attacked or invaded or some such like that, but while your base was up and running at full capacity, your character got stat boosts or equipment drops or different power-ups that you could use and abilities per week, etc. Well then yeah, then your stronghold would actually mean something. And if other players could visit it, not just to pop in and say like, oh, this is cool to look at, yay, but hey, if you go back to your home and you sleep or something, a sleep system, something super easy to put in, where you just go, you click on it and says you've now rested for X amount of time, and your experience bonus or your conquest bonus is boosted due to this. If there was some reward for putting crap into those houses that you got out, there'd be more of a reason to be excited about, a conquest vendor who is selling, decorations. Now, the level 50 companion boost, that's not as bad. I can tell you safely that none of my companions have ever maxed at 50. I have all the gifts to do it, I just never chose to. 25 to 30 has always been plenty for me, where that's pretty speedy crafting, and even during the height of the Eternal Championship, where having a buffed companion really was very helpful in there, I still never really went above 20 or 30. Anyway, okay, so companions, also this is still patch 5.8, Arkan will be romanceable, Vector is going to make a return, Ashara Zavros will be making a return, still no Jaisa, but that's a little bit better, kind of. Vector and Ashara may end up getting the same treatment that Corso and Risha just did on the last patch update on 5.7. So 5.7, we got a raid boss, and we got 3 companions coming back, but those 3 quests, 2 of which were wrapped up in one quest, 1 of which was wrapped up in another quest, and there were, all told, maybe 7 minutes worth of any sort of gameplay. So it wasn't exactly like blowing you away. Alright, the cartel market, also this is 5.8, they've improved the way that the cartel market, that we operated the cartel market last year based on your feedback. Team is looking at making additional big changes starting with game update 5.8. So in this update, they're letting you know that they will update you about patch 5.8, which is the next patch, when we're a few days from release. This to me is a really bad sign. The only reason to not announce these things now is to avoid a lot of player outrage and trying to slip it in under the radar under a few days before it actually comes out. That's some really Congress level shadiness. That's, hey, a few days before we pass this bill, we're gonna pork barrel this sucker by throwing in some pay raises for us and some bridges for my county and more and more money in appropriation for these other things, and that way when it passes a few days from now, there's all this extra stuff tacked onto this law that wasn't originally there before, including more vacation time for me. Things like that. I don't know what's coming up, but why can't they give us this detail now? What is so, here, there's only two real things. One, they aren't really sure they can actually finish it on time, and so they don't want to actually give any hardcore confirmation and details because that would bind them in a box that if they weren't ready in 5.8 and they had to push it to 5.9, now they've bound themselves to having said we will do this at 5.8 and now they're late. Or two, it's something that no one's really gonna like. This is something that players aren't going to be happy about, and so they're going to try to reduce the blowback by putting it in closer towards the release date. Alright, patch 5.9, the Nathema Conspiracy. New Flashpoint, yay. And yay. Also, they'll add in some new augments, which, yay, I guess. I don't know how I feel about augments. To be perfectly honest, guys, at this point, unless a new raid dropped, there's no reason for some slightly higher level tier of whatever. We're still trying to finish off the raid we have. Okay, we're getting new augments. I don't know. I feel like this is another time sink and resource dump from Star Wars to try to say, hey, we're giving out new stuff. It's not something new. It's a new set of augments. Augments, in the grand scheme of all the stats that you have, will give it improvement, but not a huge improvement. Not from one grade to the next grade. What really gives the biggest benefit is your main hand and your armor set, especially if there's a bonus on it. That's really the bulk of it. You could even probably be running a top tier level of equipment with augments from the previous expansion and still be doing pretty okay. I'm not saying you'll be doing great. You'll notice a bit of a difference, but you're not going to also, the bulk of your stats will be there. So a new set of augments, I don't know. Your mileage may vary. Operations in 5.9, Isaac's offering an amazing new reward. No actual expansion on that until you go down below. And Keith goes ahead and says, I understand that you probably can't tell us much about Isaac's special rewards yet, but I have 2 questions you can answer. And what we have said is, you must defeat Isaac's on veteran mode. We are messaging it as master mode due to difficulty during that time to earn the reward. This is very similar to the Nightmare Power event. So what's the reward? I don't know, and they're not telling. You have to beat it on the toughest mode possible. Might be a mount, something kind of fun like that, or a house deck. God, I hope not. House decks look cool, but again, who sees them but you? And the 1 or 2 friends that you invite over to show it off that one time. Again, not really a huge statistical benefit. Now, on the other hand, if the operations hypergate from Terror from Beyond let you have instant transport for free to some part of the universe, 3 times a week or something like that, well then, hey, then that's kind of cool. Or if it gave you instantaneous transport to something else that's really important, or let your guild have instantaneous transport between locations that are really important, and waive the guild ship fee, well then that would be awesome. That would be really cool. Then that would be something that you're like, alright, yeah, I hope that drops from that boss, and we'll all fight over it to hope that we get it. And within your guild, you'll make it a guild-only drop if you have a few pugs or whatever saying like, and if the hypergrade drops, we're the only ones who get it. Because it would have a cool benefit. It would have some reason to have it. Now, on the other hand, I have a hypergate. I was with a group that was running Nightmare, Terror from Beyond, to get it. I love it. It's one of my favorite decks. Sometimes I just stare at it. It's kind of cool, but it doesn't really do anything except look awesome. All right. So, also in 5.9, we got Felix Arreso, Mako, and Akavi Spar coming back. That will be kind of cool. I did miss Mako a lot. She is one of my favorite companions in the game. Akavi Spar, she's kind of interesting. She's one of the gunslingers to female romanceable options, and she's a lot more hardcore. She's Mando, very much likes the renegade, dark side options. Again, though, I have a feeling these are going to be really quick quests. I do appreciate Star Wars trying to get these guys out to us, but as a proviso, once these guys they come back as a companion, that's it. They're basically dropped, guys. I don't know if you're noticing it that same way that I am, but once they come back, that's basically the death sentence. Oh yeah, you have your companion back, yay, that's all we'll ever write about that companion ever again. That's it, that's done. Unless they're in the main story quest, that's it. And so there's not really much else we can do with these characters. And that to me is a source of angst, because we got really attached to these characters through the 1 through 50 level story, and it's just a reminder that that level of storytelling is never happening in this game again. So let's keep going on. Subscriber rewards. We have a series of subscriber promotions through the next few months. Look for details in your email, on the launcher, or on the SWTOR website. For example, the February Share Your Love of Star Wars started yesterday and ends February 27th, 2017. So here's an interesting thing. Here's our game update, where we're updating you on what's coming in the future, and we have a series of subscriber promotions for the next few months. Look for those details elsewhere. We are in the newsletter to see what the announcements and get information about these announcements. Okay. Last time I rant about that. I just think it's always ironic when they're like, hey guys, we got all this information, this roadmap, this idea, this overview of what's coming out over the next few months, and then you get into there, they're like, yeah, and we can't tell you anything really about it. Just keep your eyes open. We promise it's coming. Okay. Alright, beyond April, discussion topic. As we look into 2017 and now beyond the conclusion of the Trader storyline, we are planning to continue delivering content in the same manner throughout 2018. That's not good. That's really not good. That's a lot of little itty-bitty piecemeal stuff. That means a boss every few months if we're lucky. That means a flashpoint here, maybe. A huge revamp of all your abilities every couple months, of class rebalancing. When you look at the total year, you received a wide variety of both multiplayer and solo activities, including a new story, Stronghold, Starfighter updates, a new Warzone, and 2 new Flashpoints, and a new operation, along with many quality of life improvements. This is somewhat true. Yes, we received new Strongholds, but what do Strongholds really do for you? We received Starfighter updates, which really helped out the hardcore Starfighter fans, but I haven't played Starfighter, and I'm a pretty hardcore Star Wars fan. I haven't played Starfighter since it came out. No, I take that back. I haven't played it since the Dark vs. Light event where they forced you to play it. Just get into a match just to get your DVL reward. New Warzone, awesome if you PvP. That is cool. 2 new Flashpoints, ish. When they say they added new story, new Flashpoints, those are all wrapped up into the same thing. And they try to cover 6 bases on the same play. So they would come in and say, hey, we have this new story. They tack a little bit of story, in, a little bit of cutscene in the start of a Flashpoint, a little bit of cutscene at the end of a Flashpoint, and then call that's your story content. And here's your Flashpoint. And it's also the chapter. When you start that chapter, you have to play the Flashpoint. That's, instead of doing 3 or 4 different things, they tried to do 3 or 4 things and call it all this stuff. So this is a really big misnomer, guys. When they say they included a new story, 2 new Flashpoints, and a new operation, well, they, they threw in your companion romance and a story and a Flashpoint and lumped it all together. Whereas before, you would do a companion mission separate with your character in the 1 through level 50 storyline. You would do a Flashpoint which had its own separate series of stories. If you did, say, Black Talon, and by the time you got to Maelstrom Prison, the lead bad guy has now been with you through several flashpoints. And by the time you finish up Maelstrom Prison, there's an arc there that has finished. By the time you finish your level 50 arc through the flashpoints, you know, Malgus had emerged as this bad guy that you had all these ties to through all the flashpoints. There was an arcing storyline for all those flashpoints, which is really cool. There was an arc to your character development in your storyline. There was an arc in all the raids that came out. Alright, so this idea that, oh yeah, we're just going to mash everything together into one story and call that, you know, your dinner. I don't know, guys. I think that's a major cop-out. Alright, so they also do confirm 6.0 will be a thing. However, they're using the words, we're also laying out what we'll include in a 6.0 game update. Not expansion, update. I don't know what that's going to mean. Up until now, all the .0s have been some type of expansion, and they've tried to build it as such. And even if you didn't like Knights of the Fallen Empire and Knights of the Eternal Throne, they were story expansions. There was a lot of effort that was put into those. The CGI movies, the billing, the promotion, there was a lot of changes that came out in Knights of the Fallen Empire, Knights of the Eternal Throne, and it did lay down the groundwork for at least one new raid that we were able to see come. But this, to me, is kind of fessing up that nothing really great is on the books for 6.0. They don't even seem excited about it. They don't. The language here, we heard feedback from you indicating you missed having a more traditional expansion and you'd rather wait so it all comes at once. No, that's not what people have been saying either. This is also a misnomer. What we've been saying is, yes, we want a meaty expansion. Those are my words. I have said that before. In the vein of what you see in Final Fantasy XIV Stormblood, Guild Wars 2, and World of Warcraft even. However, those games still do meaty content, smaller patches in between. Case in point, Final Fantasy XIV just added in a whole new raid. a whole new one. A big one. They just did Stormblood, where they introduced a whole new continent, 2 new job classes to play, all this great stuff, and now here we are, like 2 patches, 3 patches later, and they dropped the whole raid. Okay? That is what players are looking for. That level of commitment from the developers on a subscription model game. Alright? Because Final Fantasy XIV is a subscription model game. So is Star Wars. But one is giving out very large expansions and a lot of really high-powered content, intermediary patches. What we're seeing here in Star Wars is a trickle, and yeah, and that's not what players are asking for. So I feel like this is grossly misworded to reflect player intent. I like having updates released regularly versus waiting long periods of time in between patches. Well, yeah, we all do, you know, but we actually want to see something, and not just here's the update to the update for the update coming soon, we hope. Hopefully. Unbelievable. Although this remains our current plan, we're also laying out what we'll include in the game 6.0 game update. We will keep you informed of our summer, fall, and winter plans throughout the coming months. We look forward to expanding more on what you can expect in 5.8 and 5.9 and beyond. As often as we can, we will be around in thread to answer your many questions about these updates. Looking forward to having some good discussions. That's about all we're getting, guys. So 5.7, or excuse me, 5.8, 5.9 will each have a little bit of stuff. 5.8 will have some conquest related items, and yeah, Galactic Command. Oh no, excuse me, just conquest. I was wrong earlier. I apologize. It's conquest. For some reason I had Galactic Command stuck in my head. So that sucks. I don't even know who does conquest anymore. I know I certainly don't. Alright, that's actually worse. If you stuck around at this point in the video, oops, sorry, my bad. Okay, moving on. And then also 5.8 and 9 will both have a few companions coming back. Expect similar cutscenes to what we saw with Corso Risha and Andronicus. We are having Isaacs finally drop, excuse me, a new reward. I think Isaacs was the boss that just dropped. I've stopped raiding, guys. I'm just going to be honest with you guys about that. I still love Star Wars. I still jump in and play occasionally, but I don't really raid as much anymore. So I think Isaacs... I think that's the boss that just dropped. Jesus. So all they're doing is adding in the next few patch updates a new reward for that character. Hang on. I'm going to check that really quick while I have you guys pausing for just a sec. Okay, yeah, so, yeah, Isaacs will be the next boss. My bad. Alright, I actually did have to look that up. It was right there on the top of the page, and I just kind of ignored it. Isaacs the Destroyer, 5th and final boss for Gods of the Machine operation. So, yay! Alright, so, guys, that's all I got for you, because that's all they've got from me. If you did like this video, please like and subscribe, and let me know what you think about the patch update and the notes. For 5.8 and 5.9, I'd love to say we have a lot coming. We have some things coming. Really, what we have a lot of coming is a lot more questions about what is exactly the plan at BioWare Austin and what is it that we subscribers are paying for. Guys, I won't lie to you. If you guys have ever been interested in checking out some other MMOs, there's some really good stuff out there. Final Fantasy XIV, I'm a big fan. You know, it's really fun. Very grindy, can't lie about that part. Guild Wars 2, not nearly as grindy, very, very fun, but it's not everybody's cup of tea. It's a very different type of MMO. Rewards you for almost everything you do, you know, and a lot of different ways to play that game, a lot of fun, but as far as, you know, like traditional raids and stuff like that, it's really different. The way that they tackle and approach all those things is very different. So it's not everybody's cup of tea. Some of it's very fun. I certainly had a lot of fun leveling up characters in that game and just kind of exploring that world. And it's free, you know, Guild Wars 2. It's awesome that way. And then, of course, if you're old school, you might be doing World of Warcraft or something like DCU Online. I actually just jumped into DCU Online again for the first time in I can't even remember how long, which is in a similar zone as... you know, Star Wars: The Old Republic right now. It has a niche, hardcore base audience, and the developers keep pitching new stuff to try to get players in. One of which was, you know, X set of armor, or at least the style tabs for it. This Batman-inspired one that had come out when the game first did. I always wanted it, so I re-downloaded the game to check it out and get it. And I had some fun, you know, leveling up some new characters. It's a different leveling experience now than it was when it first launched. But a lot of the core problems of the game are still there, which is there's really only 2 towns to explore. That's Gotham and Metropolis. And you can do a lot of quote-unquote flashpoints or, you know, whatever, but they're all pretty grindy. It's really mostly a gear grind after you're level 30, once you hit level 30. That's kind of how that game works. So you're either into it or you're not. I'm not. That's not really what I want to do. I would rather maybe play Skyrim again and actually do some quests, have some RP moments, you know, get in tune with whatever character I'm trying to build, have some new play styles, download some mods, try some new things, try some new armor, things like that. Getting into a Grand Theft Auto or a Fallout 4, a Skyrim, even if it's for the second or third time, sometimes can be more fun than a stale MMO. So guys, let me know what you think. If you guys like this video, please like and subscribe, and we will see you next time.